What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of Josh's Review Corner. On this episode, we're going to be reviewing 350's album, 3, Does Anyone Know You're Going This Way? 350, a Christian rap artist that comes from the Rio Grande Valley out of Texas, and me being from Houston, I definitely respect it, and I love that, hear that. But he currently resides in the Atlanta, Georgia area, I believe. Don't quote me if I'm wrong there, but I believe that's where he is right now. He dropped this project in the first third of the year back in April, and obviously I started this channel or started reviewing Christian hip-hop albums in August, but there were a plethora of albums that dropped before August that I wanted to give some attention to, and so recently you've been seeing me post albums like A3 and Not Clyde. Well, I had also mentioned in the A3 review, it just so happened to work out this way to where it was almost like the Heaven on Earth trio, or a trio of Heaven on Earth, that 350 was going to be my next review. And so because I wanted to give some spotlight to that project that dropped back in April, because I think there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about with this project. So as always, we're going to talk about the theme. And the theme for this project, it's really unique. I don't know if there is one big central theme present to the entire project, but I will name 3 things that stick out to me. One is his fatherhood, and how fatherhood has changed him and has informed his decisions, as well as his commitment to his wife. 2, struggles with your faith, and just like sometimes not feeling that God is there. Even though we know he's there, it just doesn't feel like it sometimes. And so struggling with that idea, that's one of the themes or ideas that's present on this project. And then another one is there are themes of joy, and there are themes of contentment in life. But I really feel like those first 2 themes, especially the first one about being a father and being a husband, are really the most present themes on the project. And it's not an album that's going to whack you over the head with Jesus, but what it will do is it'll tell you the testimony of a man, Michael Torres, who he's had quite a few experiences in life, and he wants to tell us the lessons he's learned or just what's been happening. And it's been 2 years since he dropped his last project. Can't remember that off the top of my head. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. It was called Love You Divine, with a little heart emoji at the very end. So it's been 2 years since that project dropped, and I was really liking what 350 was doing on that project, especially with some of the more boom bap rap cuts with a song like Blame, produced by 1995. I was really digging tracks like that. Also, there were some bangers on there, but I think one of the big things about that project was that 350 was trying to still discover what his sound is. Because he has a distinct voice, and he has a distinct rapping style, and he can basically flow on anything. He kills every feature he's on. But as far as his sound and how it plays out on albums, he really hadn't developed a signature sound, if you will, until this project, I think. And I'll talk more about that later. But I think with this project, Does Anyone Know You're Going This Way, 350 has carved out for him a sound. And I think when you look at projects like The People We Became Reimagined, where he was the sole producer of that one, you can see that this is definitely what his sound is right now. Not to say he couldn't evolve, it's not to say he couldn't progress, but I think he has found a sound, and like I said, we'll talk more about that later. But those are some of the themes that are present on the project. As for my favorites, I have quite a few. I want to start out by mentioning the opener, Make the News, that was produced by Mad96 and Jimmy Javier. Love the opener. I love the just many different samples that are present on the project. I like how the intro is this sample. I like how the closing part of the song is a sample, and I like how the middle part is the rapping slash song portion. And really the whole thing is a song. But obviously this is I love the just the subject matter here is like, I would have made the news if something didn't go. If this didn't happen in my life, I might have made the news. That's cold. That's chilling way to start the album, and something that immediately draws me, the listener, in to, man, he's definitely got something to say, because that ups the stakes a lot. This, like, and what he is talking about, and so Make the News is a great opener for the album, and that transitions into the next song. And this song is one of my favorites. I don't know if I could put, like, where I could rank these songs, so I think all these songs are just so excellent that I'm going to mention here. But Left the Light On, amazing song. Very minimal production, and I love it like that, because when you have minimal things happening with the drums, and you don't have just these big booming drums, one of the things that's beautiful is that if you play a sample into the drums for that, the sample gets to really stand out, and you get to enjoy those musical elements. So this singing voice, oh gosh, like that little singing voice that's in the sample is the thing that sticks out to me, and it drives the entire song. And you get amazing features here from Marty and No Big Deal. I love that line from No Big Deal. Motel 777, heaven left the light on. And then I love the little vocal effect that cuts out. Perfect transition. And then Marty's verse, I think Marty is best at being Marty, and Marty does a great feature here. And it's very enthusiastic. There's a lot of energy. It's funny. I was robbed down in Oakland for all my possessions. Love that little vocal refrain on that bar. Just a whole lot to like about this track. Excellent production by Marty and Blaine Taylor. Also, Blaine Taylor, I believe I remember whenever I was watching the lead up to A3's Sacred Calling, that I believe Blaine Taylor actually lives with them, or he hangs out around 350 and A3 a lot. And he does mixing, and he does engineering. I think he also does the mixing as well. He didn't necessarily do that for this project. I think AC did the project mixing. But Blaine Taylor typically handles stuff like that. And then also you have Blaine Taylor hopping into the production. And so they did an amazing job with this beat. Great song. And then for these next two songs, C4 and NUEVECINCOSEIS, excellent tracks. Funny enough, when I heard both of these tracks in consecutive order, I was immediately thinking, I wonder if they had the same producer in the mix here, because there was, like, the sample play and the way they used that sample. I love the beautiful strings of C4. And then I love just the heavy bass focus of the sample on NUEVECINCOSEIS. And sure enough, when I looked at the producer credits, Blaine Stevens was on both of these. So I have to imagine Blaine Stevens had a major hand in the sound of the production for this one. Just wonderful production on both tracks, C4 and NUEVECINCOSEIS, and definitely on my favorites for the project. That leads into the next song. We're going back to Blaine Taylor, Boy March, and Dre the Giant Garcia for production here. And it's a song that features DJ Mike LV and Fern, and that is the song Crucero. First off, I love the beat switch and the boom bap drums that come in on that beat switch. I also love Fern's verse. Fern's voice is just so stand-outish. Man has such a deep voice, and when he goes into that rapping style that he has, where he just has the flow for days, I mean, it's excellent. Not too much more than you could want in a song, and obviously Mike LV is bringing his energy on that beat switch with his typical bombastic personality. So Crucero is definitely a favorite. And then this next song, it might be the best on the project, is the song Mountains Part 2. You know, so far up until this point in the project, the first 5 songs are like the ascent up the mountain. They're like the ascent up the mountain. And then the song Mountains is the peak. Caleb Mitchell, like I said, I had mentioned one of the themes was struggling with faith. It really sounds like when you listen to Caleb Mitchell's verse, it's so personal, and it sounds like he's talking about that struggle with just like, man, Lord, are you there? And it's just such a just amazing verse by Caleb Mitchell on the back end. And then obviously 350 did his thing on the front end here. And you have 1995, who's one of my favorite producers. He probably might be my favorite producer. giving us a great beat here. And then also in the mix for production is Blaine Taylor once again, and my good friend Seth. I don't know who my good friend Seth is, but I still think that they did an excellent job with this song, and it's an excellent beat. So the first 5 songs bring us to the peak. Mountains is at the peak. And then I would say that every song from here is like the descent down the mountain. And actually, we get a pretty drastic tone and vibe switch for the remaining songs. And funny enough, if you go and listen to Mountains and you go and listen to the last 30 seconds of that song, the last 30 seconds of that song change moods and tones really quickly. And actually leads us into that next track, How Could I Heal If I Forget? Oh, and How Could I Heal If I Forget? What a beautiful song. And really for all the remaining songs in this project, 350 is getting very personal with us. The production was already very stripped back, but when you get into this latter half of the album, it's even more stripped back, and it's for the better because it fits this storytelling, personal message type of music really well. And I just wanted to read one of the lines from this song. Realizing that I'm breathing dead air. Who decided that's fair? Who's the round that's cruising round to care? Proof is in the fruit. I picked a few to see if I'm there. Truth is in the few that's pushing through. Don't think that I'm here. I mean, this song is about the fact that, like, if you really read into what it is, it's the fact that he had essentially, there's a saying that says that I wasn't dealt the best hand in the deck. Essentially saying that when you were born, your circumstances were not great from the get-go. That a lot of people from where you were born and the circumstances surrounding you would not predict that you would succeed. And this song really gets into that idea and that topic and subject matter very personally, and how that played in the 350's life, and how, I've been going through all these struggles, all this pain. I've been walking in my faith and had some tough times. And really the only way how am I supposed to heal if I forget that struggle? There's a lot of people that want to walk around and say, I'm so blessed, but they never want to get deep and personal and actually reflect on life, and also understand that, listen, we can be blessed, but it doesn't mean that hard times aren't going to come. And it doesn't mean that there's not a lesson in the hard times, more than just I'm blessed. It's so much more than that. It's like, no, wait, what is the Lord trying to teach me in these seasons of life? And so How Could I Heal If I Forget? A very personal song on overcoming our past demons and our past struggles, and moving forward and healing by not forgetting, but in fact by reflecting and taking away lessons from each of those moments. So really enjoy the song, How Could I Heal If I Forget? Another one of the songs that I want to point out as a favorite, and really you could the album list at 10 songs long, about 21 minutes in runtime. But if you really look at it, it's about 9 songs, because and I'm going to group these last 2 songs together, and this is a favorite of mine. It is the song Break Down and then the last song Walls, and I'll consider them both together. Break Down the Walls. And here on production, we have Enzo Gran, Blaine Taylor, and Prim. I believe did Prim provide the saxophone for this? I believe Prim provided the saxophone. Also, Enzo Grant. Okay, so here's the thing. When I heard this song initially, I immediately knew Enzo Grant was producing. When I heard those strings, I was like, oh, yeah, Enzo Grant's on production, because obviously he's in the Heaven on Earth collective. So when you hear strings and it's on a 350 song, more than likely, it's probably Enzo Grant. And so production here, excellent. And probably my favorite writing on the entire project is on this song Walls. I want you to listen to this little lyrical section where he's talking about fatherhood. This section is just so awesome. The writing is so beautiful. Fill my lungs with warm embrace. She fills hers with consistency. Hold it deep inside till we exhale it for our kids to see. When I hear lyrics like that, it's just, you could tell that this project was given a healthy amount of attention, and it wasn't just written flippantly. No, this was written with a purposeful message. and an intent that is laser focused. And so this song, writing wise, my favorite on the project. Production is excellent. There's just so much to love about Break Down the Walls. Love the background vocals. Break down the... I love those little background vocals playing throughout Break Down the Walls, especially on the song Break Down that's where you get more of the female lead vocals there. And that really wraps up the project. I also want to go back to the song Mountains for a second. Mountains Part 2. Something that I really loved about that song that also added to my love for it was the little tambourine hits. So on the initial part of the drum section, you don't have these tambourine hits. But about halfway through that drum beat section, you'll hear the tambourine hits. And you'll also hear just the tambourines making this noise before it goes into the sample. And it's so excellent. It adds so much to the song, adds so much depth, and different tones and textures to the song Mountains Part 2. And that's all I have for favorites. As for my least favorite song on this project, I feel bad for even giving a least favorite because, I mean, dang, dude, all these songs are just so excellent. I don't even know if I could call it a least favorite, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Time Will Tell. And I think Time Will Tell is excellent, but I think maybe where I would have liked this song to have gone maybe a bit of a different direction to kind of go with that theme that I was mentioning where it's more personal in the second half, is instead of using the auto-tune on Time Will Tell, maybe you take out the auto-tune and you just leave your raw vocals there. But I mean, that is just so nitpicky on my behalf. I mean, I really can't say anything bad about that song. I mean, that song is great too. But like I said, it'd probably be my least favorite for the project. Now, some of you might be asking the question, is this album gospel-centered? I wouldn't say the album is gospel-centered in the sense of it's explicitly preaching the gospel. And I wouldn't say the album is gospel-centered, even the fact that it mentions Jesus or it tries to mention Jesus a whole lot. But what I would say is that it does relate to faith, and it does relate to the fact that each and every one of us has a testimony, and specifically Michael Torres has a testimony of how the Lord is working in his life. And he's just openly and honestly sharing what he's been going through. And for that, I have a great deal of respect for him and for his walk. And I'm going to continue to be praying for that gentleman and just for his walk, because like I said, I just appreciate his raw and open honesty with this project. Now for my final score. I had to think about it, and after much thought, I would give this, because I've listened to this project a whole host of times after it dropped back in April, a whole host of times. And if I had to give it a score, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10, a solid 8 out of 10, borderlining a 9 out of 10. But I'm going to keep it at an 8 out of 10. Really love this project. I think this project is something that is so unique in Christian hip hop. In Christian hip hop, we have a lot of people trying to make youth group rap. We have a lot of people trying to make bangers. We have a lot of people trying to make boom bap. We have a lot of, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of boom bap on here. We have a lot of people trying to make really popular sounding music, really overproduced Christian contemporary music. We have a lot of different people trying to make music, but we don't have a whole lot of people. In fact, I would say really this is the only project that I've heard in CHH recently that sounds like this. Very few projects in CHH that are as raw, open, and honest. You know, when he made this project, I guarantee you he didn't make it with the thought of, this is going to be so commercially successful. No, I think when he made this project, he knew that, hey, you know what? This isn't necessarily what sells, but it's what's on my heart. It's been what I've been thinking about. And I want to share that with the audience. And I just appreciate 350 for sticking to his artistic guns here and not straying away from what his plan is, because I think ultimately that has the most integrity, right? Because when people make it to fill a vibe, it's like there's really little integrity in that. But when you stick to your guns and you stick to just telling your story, I'm telling you that it's just so it just is full of integrity, and it makes you appreciate the music that much more. So a bravo to 350 and everyone who helped craft this project. I'm really looking forward to what 350 is doing next after the reimagined version of The People We Became. And yeah, just hoping maybe one day, I don't know, 350, if 350 watches this, hopefully one day we get a vinyl. I would love to get a vinyl of this project. But that's besides the point. Well, guys, thank you for listening. Let me know if you thought this review was helpful, or if there's any other projects that you'd like me to review. Let me know down in the comment section below. What was your favorite track? Was your favorite track Mountains Part 2, or was your favorite track Time Will Tell, or what was it? Just leave that down in the comment section down below, guys. Would love to interact with you guys there. As always, I'll see you guys later, and you guys have a blessed day. Peace.